opening up the chest, the shoulders, doing a little bit of easing in of the neck and the shoulders, and then just at the end of the session, just take a moment just to tune in with the breath, notice how we're feeling. So that's live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's go Instagram, live on Instagram. Tom's doing his stretches already. That's a good start. Come up to standing and find a space that you've got room in front and behind for you. And just take a moment just to connect to the ground. Have a little shake out if you need to shake a little bit. Move the shoulders a little bit. And just standing tall through the spine. Getting that head balanced on top of the shoulders. And let's do a little bit of spinal cord breathing. So getting that spine rippling. So just taking the hips back a little bit so we can tilt the pelvis and spill out the front of the pelvis there. Opening up the front of the chest, opening up the throat, breathing in, and then tucking the pelvis underneath. Just nice and gentle, nothing forced, just being kind to yourself. Breathing with the movement. Expanding and breathing in. Contracting and breathing out. It's like a nice morning wake up stretch. The next in breath, just do a little rotation to one side and do a couple of inhales and exhales to the side. Still tucking the pelvis, still tilting that pelvis forwards and backwards as well. And then when you're ready, we can just rotate, go the other side. Then back down the center. And just finishing with, when you're ready, nice pulling down, breathing in. Let's do a big breath in there. Nice big full breath and breath out. Let go. Little shake, shaking the legs out, shaking the arms, shaking the shoulders. Just bringing your fingers together like that, and then just resting them underneath the collarbone. So you got like a little space there to rest the fingers. And then we'll do big elbow circles. So really opening up the chest there, the front across the chest. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Excuse me. Big circles. Use the spine as well. So if you watch with the spine, I'm almost like tucking, tilting down there, bowing a little bit, and then opening up. So get that spine involved. Breathing in to expand, breathing out. Just keep that movement going. I'm just gonna, I think it looks as if I've frozen a little bit on Instagram. Bear with me, keep rotating. Oh no, I think I'm there, hopefully. There's a frozen, if I'm frozen on Instagram, you can't hear me anyway, so sorry about that. And then let's change direction. So if you're going forwards, go backwards. If you're going backwards, go forwards. And then we can do alternates. So one goes up and over, the other one goes back and down. So it's like you're paddling a canoe. And again, that spine gets involved, so spine rotates. Remember these shoulder ones, you can do these seated as well. If you do them seated, it takes the hips out of the equation. So the hips are fixed. If you do them standing, you can bring the hip into it, so you can get that right nice rotation through the hips. You feel the feet, the ankles, the connection to the floor. And then let's change direction if you haven't already done so. Really lifting that rib cage away from the hip. Lift the rib cage away from the hip. Couple more. And then again, just have a little shake out. Shake out the legs if you need to shake out the legs and the arms. Let's do a little bit of work with the neck. So you've got your fingers together like this, but you're going to do that behind your back. So that just helps to lengthen up the spine. If you have a little weight, if you have something that you can just hold there, that's absolutely fine as well, because it just helps to keep the shoulders down. Just be aware when we're in this position that we're not forcing these lower ribs particularly out. So I don't want you to force anything back. And obviously if you've got any pain in the neck or the shoulders, you just stop. So tall through the spine in this position. Lengthen up first, and then we're just going to take the ear very gently towards the shoulder. Then we're going to bring the chin to chest and ear to opposite shoulder. And then just balance on top, back on top of the spine. So we're not taking that head back here. Then again, we just go back the other way, ear to shoulder, chin to chest, circle round, balance on top of the spine. Always have that little reset, a little lift, that little lengthen of the spine when we get to the top. Let's go ear to shoulder. And then just go at your own pace. Remember that little reset in the center. Let's do one more. And then rest the head back on top of the spine. We can let go of the hands, have a little shake. Let's do a little bit more with the neck and shoulders. Again, take it easy with this one. Just do it very gently, not forcing, not pushing, resting the palm on the crown. So again, this helps you to lift and lengthen up. And then we're going to take the ear to shoulder. Here we're going to hold the position, but just breathe into it for a few breaths. And here we can take those slightly fuller breaths as well. Think of breathing into those lower ribs. And then take the opposite hand on the opposite lower rib and slide that rib cage across. Again, just take this really easy, nothing forced, breathing easy. You can also use your eyes now without changing the position of your head, just looking up and across in the opposite direction. You've got your ear to shoulder. So we start to use the fascia and the ligaments and the tendons around the eyes as well. Breathing. Feel that breath coming low into the ribs, where you feel that movement in the ribs. Couple more breaths. And then very slowly just bring the head back to balance on top of the spine. Put your rib cage back. And then take a rest. Just stand for a moment. And then we'll repeat on the opposite side. So palm of the hand on the crown. Again, that helps you lengthen that spine up, tall through the spine. Ear to shoulder first. Then taking the opposite rib and sliding that across. Breathing a few breaths into it there. And then looking up and across with the eyes without changing the position of the head or the chin. And just deliberately slowing the breath, calm, fuller breaths in and out through the nose. Couple more breaths. And then very slowly again, just bringing that head back to balance on top of the spine. And letting the shoulders relax. And then just a little bit of knocking, so feet shoulder width apart. Really connect to the ground through the feet. arm that swings across the front, just bring into a light fist, and then just tapping on the tip of the lungs, that lung point. And then coming up to shoulders. Tip of the lungs. And then back across the back and the belly. Slowing it down now into water waves. And then just taking a moment just to stand. Move around a little bit, shake a little bit if you need. How does that feel? How does the spine feel? How do the shoulders feel? Let's just rest our hands now on the side of the ribs and focusing on the space. When we take a slightly fuller breath in, we're going to create more movement here in the ribs and in the back as well. So you've got your thumbs into the back of the ribs there. So I'd just like you to take 5 really nice, slow, calm, full breaths, really exploring that space you've got, how much space you can create. So again, we're really not forcing anything. It's just calm, slow, full breaths in and out. So we'll do a couple together, then I'll let you do the final 3 on your own. So taking a nice full breath in. Feel those ribs move out, little pause at the top maybe, and then let that breath go. Bless you, Tom. Let the ribs go back in. So again, it's very calm, not forced. Breath in. Just taking these full breaths just to deliberately expand the rib cage, move the diaphragm down. Breath out. It's a bit like blowing up a balloon. And then just 3 more in your own time. Full deep breaths, but calm, slow. Then when you've done that, just take a rest. Again, shake your arms out, shake your legs out if you need to. And then let's find the bottom of your sternum there, find your navel, and then come in between bottom of the sternum and navel, and gently just put a little bit of pressure there. If this feels uncomfortable, don't do it, but put as much or as little pressure there as you are comfortable with. And then again, as you're breathing, just deliberately take those slower, fuller breaths so that as you breathe in, diaphragm is moving down, it's pushing the abdomen wall out. As you breathe out, that area, the fingers will sink back in. So again, just deliberately taking slow, full breaths. Keeping calm in the shoulders, the face. 3 to 5 breaths. And when we go below the ribs, when we're going to here anywhere below, then it's not the actual physical breath or the lungs that are filling up or creating that space here. It's the pressure of the diaphragm moving down. So even if we focus on bringing the breath deep, you're not actually physically bringing air down to this point. Just one more breath. And then take a rest. And we'll come a little bit lower. So belly button, navel, 3 finger widths just below. And then fingers as we did there. And again, if it feels uncomfortable, don't do it, but put some pressure there. And then 3 to 5 very deliberate, full, deep breaths. So this is the true sense of the word deep. It's low down. It doesn't mean to say big volume when we take deep breaths. So feel how this area responds to the breath. So often when we talk about centering ourselves, grounding ourselves, this is the area we're thinking about. Remember, it's not the breath that goes down there. The movement is a consequence of the breath, a consequence of that diaphragm moving down or flattening out a little bit there and creating pressure, intra-abdominal pressure. And then take a rest. And just stand for a moment, just with comfortable standing position. And now, without changing the way you're breathing, without breathing fuller, just bring awareness to those points that we've worked on, the physical sensations of the ribs moving. And again, if you just want to put your hands on your ribs, if you want to explore these places again, but if you just want to stand and see the physical sensation of the ribs and the back. And here we're just breathing very light, not doing big breaths, but we have that space. We've got plenty of space to breathe into. And then bringing your attention to that point in between the belly button and sternum, the solar plexus. And again, without changing the way you breathe, just low down to that lower dantian, physical energy center, centering yourself. So as you go through today, just tune into those spots, whatever you're doing. You're washing up, you're walking to the shops, you're walking the dog, you're sitting working. Just every so often, just go, all right, I can just take a gentle breath into here, gentle breath into here, gentle breath into here. And then the final space that we don't want to miss is up here in the chest. So you can just rest your hand on the chest. And then let's take 3 to 5 deliberately fuller breaths, and you can expand here, not here, not in the face. So just expand. So keeping the shoulders relaxed and the face relaxed. And then see if you can notice almost that ripple effect. So we're not breathing in separate compartments whatsoever, but just notice the ripple of effect. When you breathe in first, space here, and then it lifts up to here. So just think what we did with that spinal cord breathing. We got that spine moving. So visualize very light, easy spinal cord breathing, but without moving. Smooth, rhythmical breath, just natural breathing. If it helps and it feels comfortable, sometimes I just place my hand on the back as well. So you can just place back of the hand there. So we bring awareness to the back of the body, the lower back. So subtle, so light, but still centered, still deep. And then have a little bit of a shake. Debbie's going, bye Debbie, a little bit of a shake, and then bring your hands resting on the lower dantian, bringing the feet together. And just closing your eyes just for a moment of bamboo in the wind. And then breath in, opening your eyes, have a little stretch. So just check in today, those key points, and remember big breaths and deep breaths are different. Big is volume, deep is location. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy your day. I will see you hopefully on Wednesday. Thanks for joining. Take care. Bye.